Hi, welcome back to Geno's Picks. It's great to be back. I want to thank Joe Conti for filling in for me last week. He was reading my picks, and I'm trying to remember how they did. Oh yeah, 4-0. That brings me to 29-11 on the year, and I'll tell you something else. If you take the weeks I've gone 2-2, coming off those weeks, I am 21-3. That's pretty impressive. That makes winning money fun, huh? You want to try it again this week? Me too. But first, you know what really grinds my gears? It's the replay and the officials again, but this time I'll give you a break and I will praise the officials. Long story short, end of the Chargers-Chiefs game, horrific pass interference call on Hart when he hit Tony Gonzalez. Tony gets the reception, Chiefs score, go for 2, and on the 2-point conversion, they say Hart may have held Gonzalez on the play. No. Calls balance out. The refs let them. That was the right thing, and you don't get that gimme call. The Chiefs lost because they're the only team worse at finishing a game than the Chargers. The Chargers really do grind my gears. But now, let's make some money. My first pick, the Dolphins are giving 10.5 to the Raiders in Miami. Okay, I don't like picking on the Raiders, but Al Davis and that whole team makes it so easy. This week, Tom Cable cut Greg Knapp from play calling duty, and now this offensive coordinator is going to add that to his to-do list, right between Saturday buffet and Monday morning apology, okay? The Raiders have more to be ashamed of come Monday morning than a Catholic priest. They're a disgrace. And what does Tom Cable, an offensive coordinator, know about play calling? Everything he knows takes place at the line. What goes on behind it, he has no idea, and he's not even good at that. Dating back to 2006 when he was the offensive line coach for the Falcons up until this 2.5 years later, his teams have given up 115 sacks. His quarterbacks have been nailed in the backfield more than the entire cast of Queer as Folk. But still, you think they're going to do well? Let's couple it with one more thing. The NFL is again going to subject a West Coast team to fly to the East Coast and play the equivalent of a 1 o'clock game. It doesn't bode well for the joke that is the Oakland Raiders. Take the Dolphins, give the 10.5. The Panthers are giving 14 to the Lions in Carolina. Okay, there's no place like home for the Panthers. And there's no place in the NFL for Daunte Culpepper. I'm sorry, but he's finished. It's not his reconstructed knee. And it's not the sex boat scandal of 2005, where a dozen Minnesota Viking players were arrested for renting a boat and having sex with prostitutes. I don't believe that for a minute. Black people on a boat, really? And a rented boat? Don't you need a credit card to do that? That absolves Daunte Culpepper, you know what I mean? Okay, here's the problem with Daunte Culpepper. It's neither of those things. He can't read a defense. He reads a defense like my beautiful nephew Nicholas at a 3rd grade level. He's not that good. And let me tell you, since he's lost Randy Moss, in those years, he's thrown 13 TDs and 21 interceptions. And if you go to this past game against the Jags, it took me exactly 59 seconds to throw his first pick, and he finished the day with 5 completions for 104 yards, and 51 of those yards came on a long lob pass to Calvin Williams. Do you see the trend there? Couple this all with the fact that the Panthers' defense is pretty good, especially at home, compared to the Jags' defense, which was on the road last week. All that said, take the Panthers, give the 2 TDs. And now for my lock of the week. The Cardinals are giving 3 to Seattle in the Pacific Northwest. Okay, the Seahawks are a shell of a team that played in Super Bowl 40 a mere 2.5 years ago. Sean Alexander is gone, and he's not the same player. Matt Hasselbeck and all their wide receivers are banged up, and most of them aren't even playing. And Mike Holmgren is one Mike Singletary shooting spree away from moving to San Francisco and taking that job. Okay, but you want to know who's hurt the most in Seattle? You ready for this? Their 12th man. See, I was at that game 2 weeks ago against the Eagles, and it used to be the fans, the 12th man would get so riled up, they raise the flag at the beginning and the place goes nuts. Now it takes about 1 or 2 good plays to take the fans out of the game. The fans sit there and wait for the inevitably horrific ending, like when the trains got away at Schindler's List with all the Jews on them. What? Really? You're going to get mad at me? The point is, the biggest distraction this week is Seneca Wallace is doubtful. And Matt Hasselbeck shouldn't even be playing. But since Seneca Wallace is doubtful, they're making Hasselbeck probable. Neither one is mentally prepared. This team is going to come out flat. And the Cardinals are going to beat the snot out of them. Sorry, Pete. Take the Cards. Give the 3. And now for my Double Your Money Monday Night Bet, or as I like to call it, Run to the Bank Tuesday like you stole something, and you certainly could have last week with that 4-0. The Browns are getting 5 from the Bills in Buffalo. This is a toughie. What do you do when the two teams you always pick to lose are playing each other? Well, if you want to really gamble, probably take the under on this. But let's look at this. The Bills are not who we thought they were. It is now week 10, and we can look back and say the Bills started 5-1. And the combined record of the 5 teams they beat in that span is now 14-31. They're not who we thought they were. It's like the new kid that comes to school from Kentucky and says, you know, I used to get laid all the time at my old school, and it turns out he was homeschooled. It's not what you want to believe, and it's upsetting. The bottom line is the Bills are not a good team, and Brady Quinn is coming in at quarterback with no pressure on him. None. What's he going to do? Lose his job to who knows who's third? He's going to play without pressure. Who knows if they'll win, but they'll definitely cover. In a game where the only thing worse than the two teams will be the weather, take the Browns and take the 5.